aphorisms of Ibn Ata'illah, and it was commentated on by the Imam Ali bin Abdullah bin Ahmad Baras. And prior to that, we will recite or read a poem that is called The Aphorisms. And this was authored by Ali bin Muhammad bin Hussein. He lived 1,000 years ago. The pious and the knowers of Allah have attested to in the East and the West lines of this poem. And this begins with a man increasing in his dunya is a decrease. And there are wisdoms, lessons, and instructions. And this is from the poetry that had a great effect and a great benefit. And this is its beginning. A man increasing in his world is a decrease, and his profit in other than pure good is loss. That's the beginning of this poem. Here he clarifies a reality that with which our Prophet, the best of all creation, was sent, and the prophets were sent with before him, that this worldly life are chattels of illusion, that those of reason and refined heart, they understand a secret of existence in it for the period of time that is appointed, apportioned for them in this limited period of time. Through they prepare and they are good and they make preparations for prepare provisions from this short lifespan in this life of the world for the day of return and to live and the life that is endless, and that is the life of the hereafter. And everyone who is distracted by this worldly life and the various types of things in it and is deluded by it and inclines to it, he will lose his through this relationship. He makes himself miss various types of eternal felicity, salvation, and good everlasting, and enduring grace and high degrees and nearness to Allah Jalla Jalala, to the extent that they are deluded by the worldly life and inclined to it, and the more firm their attachment is to it, cut it off from the objective, the greatest objective, leaving the straightest of paths, being deluded by and they don't seek refuge, and they are tranquil in this. That to the extent that they do that, that decreases degrees, bliss, levels, gifts, favors, various munificence, and degrees of companionship, murafaqah. The affair is like this, the reality is like this. Allah calls out in his book, let not the worldly life delude you, let it not trick you, and not let the tricker trick you, who is the devil. And those who are attached to it, pay attention to it, of its prestige, its power, its wealth, its ornaments, its fame, its superficial manifestations. All of that is perishing, ending, and no reality remains of it. This is what Allah mentioned as a similitude in his book, like a rain that pleases the disbelievers, and then it's the foliage that grows for it, it dries and then is just blown away. And the hereafter, there's forgiveness from the Lord and good pleasure. If you have a concern, that is with the hereafter. If you have a problem or a blessing or fame, that's in the hereafter. In the hereafter, there's a severe punishment and forgiveness of Allah and good pleasure. all of the torment of the world does not equal the least of the torment of the hereafter, and the bliss of the world does not amount to anything in comparison to the least of bliss of the hereafter. And the least of people of paradise is the one who is given like this world 10 times, the least in paradise. And that's an individual. This world, and what is in it? And the individual, how long will he be in this world? How much will he own of this world? Someone of great power, great property. What does he own of this world? All of it, the whole world. 10 times that is for one individual in paradise. And he is the least of people of paradise in degree, though none of them are little. So forget the play of Iblis, that he make us see the world as awesome and that we revere it, so that we leave it, we prepare ourselves as though it's the greatest thing. Its illness, its poverty, any of its difficulties. No one, a governor, a governed, poor, rich, whatever that is. And those who thought they were progressing in the ornaments of this world, and it cut them off from Allah. And their illusion became evident, very evident in this time of ours. In their lands, their governments, their nations, their societies, what illnesses do they have? Look at the circumstance. The worst is with them. The most is with them. Hey, this is advancement. This is development. Whenever there's an illness that they talk about, people of wellness, the World Health Organization, you find that it began with them, it flows among them, and is with them more. That's those who say they're advanced. They said this is a liberal, open civilization. However, they lost the scales. They didn't know the difference between decrease and perfection, increase and decrease. They didn't know the truth, good from evil. When these scales were inverted, they revered that which was not great, and they were deluded by what cannot be depended upon. Those who do not believe in meeting us, and they are pleased with the life of the world and tranquil in it, and those who are heedless of our verses or signs, their refuge is hellfire due to what they used to earn. Those who desire the life of the world and its ornaments, we give them their deeds there, and they will not receive a decrease in the hereafter. In the hereafter, they have nothing but hellfire. And he said, these deeds that they did, measure them. And what they did has failed, and false was what they used to do. The Shaykh Abu Fatah, he says, a person increasing in his dunya is a decrease. Every time you see someone who increases in world, decreased from his highest objective, this person decreases. His salvation decreases, his joy, his degrees, his reward eternally. What did he increase? He increased in what was ephemeral, temporal, ended. In all of that, he was what? Demolishing. Something that will be ruined, he increases in it, and it will be demolished. It will collapse. That's an increase. What did you do for your own soul? You missed high degrees, good levels, eternality in bliss, and companionship that was noble of prophets and the Siddiqin. A man increasing in his world. He said, do not trick our minds, Iblis and your armies. Do not trick the minds of the Muslims and believers. There is an increase in palaces that you will not, you didn't build, you won't taste, lands that you didn't build. an increase in devices right ahead of us. There is a whole lot of poverty among many of their populations, illness among those populations, fear, panic. They're full of it, anxiety. Your eyes see that. But when a person is tested, he will not believe what he sees. He will not humble himself for what he witnesses. O changer of hearts and sights, make our hearts firm upon your deen. We ask you an increase in deen, O Allah. A person increasing in deen is a true increase. That in reality, a person increasing in deen is an increase. And whatever increased your deen will increase your value, your light, your bliss, your nearness, your knowledge. It increases Allah's gaze to you, your companionship to our Prophet. These are increases. An increase in deen. Oh Allah, we ask you for an increase in deen, Ya Allah. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. The one who profited some of these nights, much less all of these nights, in an increase in faith, certitude, nearness to the Lord. Does that equal someone who went 40 days or more? What was he amassing? I don't know. Amassing what? He's clarifying what? Where's the increase? Where's the decrease? Where's the profit? Where's the loss? The Sheikh indicates the reality of measure, to place the balance, that you not transgress in the scales, that you establish the scales. Do not cheat the scales. Look at the proper measure. A person increasing in his worldly life is a decrease. World that is cut off from the objective, it's cursed except the dhikr of Allah and what supports it. There's no blessing in this world except something that someone uses to draw nearness to Allah, and he seeks the countenance of Allah. Not showing off, that is a cheat, and that is a lie. And this, the dunya that is good, that is from the dunya, but its akhirah in its reality is deen. So wealth that is lawful with a good intention, without being distracted from the first Allahu Akbar, or reciting Quran, or attending a congregation, or dhikr of ar-Rahman Jalla Jalala. That's deen then. Spending it on relatives, serving those in, rescuing those in difficulty, fulfilling people's debts, helping those in difficulty. That's deen. Money used for that is that deen. It's called dunya, but it's from the deen. Increasing that is a true increase. However, increase worldly things that are divorced of the objective. This is the reality of decrease. A person increasing in his world is a decrease. And his profit, what he views as profit in his limited view, is broken scale. If this is not pure good, if it is not pure good, and what is good? Good is what is good with Allah. Whatever results in Allah's pleasure, reward, this is good. We seek refuge in Allah. This is good. This is good. This is a loss. And his profiting other than pure good is a loss. Allah says, I swear by Asr, surely the human being is in loss except those who believe, perform good deeds, mutually consult, truth and fortitude. Oh Allah, give us faith, pious deeds, mutual consultation. Oh Allah, give us that, make it true in that. Ameen. Everyone who's present in this gathering, everyone who's listening to us, make him into the sphere of those who believe, perform pious deeds, mutually consult in truth and fortitude. Make us in every day and night of this short life an increase in deen and a prophet of pure, mere good. O Lord of the worlds, a person increasing in their world is a decrease, and their profit other than pure good is loss. They said, give him a party. What kind of party? He was triumphant. He won a game, a sports game. Then what? And then there's men and women mixing each other. Whoa, 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 whoa. This is loss, evident loss. Yom al-Qiyamah. Those who believe, those who are given knowledge, they will raise their standards. This is what we believed in this world. People laughed at us. That's what you saw before your eyes. Surely those are losers are the ones who lost their own souls and their own families on the day of resurrection. The losers are the ones who lost their souls and their families. That is evident loss. Groups that lose their own souls and their own families. This is forbidden. Who do you revere? Who do you magnify? A group of those who Allah has never gazed upon became leaders among them. They were deluded by it. He said, you should revere this electronic device. He and his device are going to go. He's a disbeliever. Protect your soul. Protect your family. This is forbidden. Do not revere those people. Greatness is with Muhammad. Greatness is with his companions, his family, the prophets and messengers. They are great with Allah eternally. And those who lose their own souls on the day of resurrection, they cannot be revered. You should pity them. You should pity them. Fear for them for a wicked hereafter and the darkness and great danger. And you wish to rescue them from their darkness. A person increasing in his world is a decrease, and his profit in other than pure good is a loss. And every ulterior motive, whatever motive you have that you find, however, this that you attain and you saw it as fortune, it will vanish, it will perish. Its meaning in reality is loss. He said, you wanted something that vanishes. Whoa, what did you find? Allah. We found something that dies. Oh. If it's going to die, then consider it vanished now. And everything that has no remaining, its meaning in reality is loss. Every attainment that does not remain is in reality loss. Some of the Sahaba, they said in their business, they had noble intentions. One of them he said, I attained profit in the market of Medina in a way that no one did. Allah's messenger said, what is that? He said, 400 gold coins. Oh, that was a great profit. He said, there's a man who got more profit than you. Who's that? Oh, messenger. No one in the market. Who made 400? A man who prayed an obligatory prayer and followed it with 2 rakas. He had more profit than you. Hey. Fortune 400 gold coins and 2 rakas after it. Which one will remain and which one will vanish? Which one will benefit? Which one will end? That one attained more profit than you. Prophet Muhammad corrected their scales. And every motive that does not remain, in reality, its meaning is lost. So someone with reason, the worst sadness I feel is in joy. He said, how is happiness your worst sadness? And he said, that is a happiness that a person who is happy about it knows it will end. He said, it knows it will end. He said, it's going to end. That is a sadness. If happiness is going to end, it's a sadness. Is there a happiness that never ends? He said, your happiness, obedience, you're happy about the one who you obey. Your happiness about worship, your happiness with the one who worship. Say in Allah's grace and his mercy, in that let them rejoice. This is joy. This is joy. Be happy about that. You'll be happy about it in this world, on the day of judgment, in paradise. Not something that lasts 3 days, 5, a year, 2, then after that. Is that happiness? That itself will come to an end. The most severe sadness is in a happiness that the one who experiencing it knows will end. He'll leave it soon. The pious man, he alerted a king that was happy about his palace. He said, anyone who visited it praised it. He said, no, it has a blemish. There's something wrong with this castle. It was so organized, its architecture, its engravings, its colors, all of it. Some of the pious, they said, oh, they showed him the palace. He said it has one problem, one thing wrong with it. The king was amazed. He had all these specialists, architects. No one said there was anything wrong with it. He said, what's wrong with this palace of mine? He said, the problem with this is the owner will die. That's a problem in both worlds. This would be great if the owner never died. He said, the problem is the owner will die. Hey. He said, that's a problem in the whole palace, all palaces in the world. Say that, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. By that you plant a tree in paradise eternal. That's a happiness that never ends. It's an everlasting joy. Pray 12 rakas without, aside from the obligatory prayer, you'll have a palace in paradise. You'll live in it eternally. He said, this is a palace with no faults. You love the palaces in which there's a fault, or the ones that have no faults. He said, these are palaces with no faults. And the palaces in the world, another fault is those who live there get sick. Do they get sick or not? No one who lives there gets sick. What's a third fault? A third fault, these palaces of this world, they will prevent the one who lives in them from being sad or depressed for periods of time. So this palace, how did it help him? He said every day, 12 rakas, that'll build you a palace. The sunnahs before Fajr, the sunnahs before Dhuhr and after, before Maghrib, or sunnahs of Asr after Isha. The person who lives that, he's never worried, sad in the hereafter. These are precious palaces, those my loved ones. There's another blemish in these palaces of this world of ours. The owners, they if they live a long time in this world, they'll be deprived those palaces. He said those palaces, you'll live between, he said if you live 1,000 years, you'll be 33. You live 1,000,000 years, you'll be 33. You in your palace, no worry, no concern, and you're 33 years. You're never deprived of benefit. Oh, excuse me, they never get old, not haram. They never get old. You never get old in those palaces. They have whatever they will in paradise, and we have an increase, Allah says. What else? There are places that are filthy. Are there not? They are. This person who thinks that he's advanced and whatever, he said, these decorations, he gets them dirty. For what? Filth. He said, those palaces in paradise, there is no phlegm, no spit, no bad odors, no urine, no filth. So why do we prefer these with their worries? And why do we worry about these and leave those? How do we heedless? Who tricked us? Where are the minds? When a person loses the scales, he will lose. Surely those who are losers are the ones who lose their own souls and their families. That is clear. Loss. Every attainment that does not remain is in reality loss. Oh, you who is trying to develop ruins, striving. He said, you spend your whole life. He said, every day your lifespan decreases. Every day. A day expires. Do you have an ability? Can you stop your lifespan from being ruined, from slipping away? He said, we want to build the ruins that are occurring every day. Every day, your days decrease. Your days decrease. You're living thinking about palaces, farms, decorations. He said, however, your lifespan decreasing, 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 decreasing. Oh, you who build something that will fall into ruins. Can you build ruins? The loss of lifespan, what can you do? The loss of to develop lifespan, to build lifespan is for it to occur in obedience. If it passes and you lose it for a future that will give you light and bliss, other than that, it is ruin. And after that, there's hardship. There's a wicked place of return and sin. La ilaha illallah. Look at, and may Allah give us and you to take a look at those who used it in obedience. People in paradise do not regret anything except a moment in which they didn't remember Allah. And this, you should memorize this. And it's printed and it's available. And then he's having them read from the hikam.